Welcome to the Stand Tall podcast, where we sit down with extraordinary people and hear how they've overcome challenges in their own lives. You'll be inspired, challenged, and uplifted by these stories. And whether it's a podcast story or our youth wellbeing events, we're here to help you find hope. Let's jump in. Hi, I'm Molly. We are backstage at Stand Tall, as I'm sure you can probably hear. It's going off out there, but today I have someone who is nothing short of extraordinary. Duku came to Australia as a refugee, has overcome huge barriers, is now a TEDx speaker, an entrepreneur, an author, and honestly, I am so privileged to be speaking with him today. So I guess...
Molly, you forgot about how I have such a good jawline.
Yes, and very handsome, as very, very handsome as well. I think you told the speakers that out there quite a few times. But I was privileged enough to listen to Duku speak earlier today, and let me tell you, I think other than Tim-O-Matic, who I think is pretty hard to beat, I think you had everyone out there on the best hype levels ever. So I guess to start, tell me a little bit more about yourself, because you are phenomenal and there is just so much to your story.
No, thank you. And I would say I am also a big fan of Tim. I was watching him, I think, when he was part of So You Think You Can Dance.
Yeah.
And for him to continue doing what he's doing with the Stand Tall team and at the same time just inspiring the kids, it's beautiful. And I'm someone who, I was like those kids growing up. I came to Australia when I was 10 years old, couldn't speak a single word of English. And there were times where I was bullied, and it's one of those things where to even be able to do what I do now and to actually be able to follow my dream and to be able to inspire more kids to stand tall towards their dreams, towards their ideas, are things I can never take for granted.
100%, and you said it right there. You came to Australia. I think from memory, the only word you could say was no in English.
No, it was yes.
Oh yes, okay, my bad. You could say yes.
I didn't know. There was no in my dictionary.
Okay. Still a yes man, I believe. Still a yes man. So,
it did get me in a few trouble.
So how did you find that strength to go from knowing no English to international speaker?
Well, what I would say is, because there were times where I was bullied, and after finishing school, I told myself, you know what? I just want to be able to have a normal conversation. I wanted to be able to say my name, because my speech impediment alone hindered me from even being able to say my own name. Yeah. And it's one of those things where when I had that, dream to be a better version of myself, my little brother and I came up with a beautiful idea for me to, let's say, make motivational videos. At that time, it was to inspire my siblings anyways. Yeah. And that way I could, let's say, upload the videos on YouTube, and we watch the videos, see where I was stuttering, where I was elongating my words, and actually reverse engineer the way I communicated. And Molly, we made my first video in the bathroom.
I remember that.
Absolutely. The lighting wasn't as good as here, but, we made it in the bathroom. And just by being dedicated, by being consistent, and by not giving up, I somehow managed to, along the line, get to where I am. Yeah.
So I guess you did touch on there, and you just wanted to be able to have a conversation with someone, but you make it sound so easy, but I know it wouldn't have been. What kept you going during those times? What was your power, driving force?
Well, I would say at that time it was my siblings. Yeah. I always say that my siblings were selfish enough to believe that I could make it. Yeah. And they were just, they were blinded by maybe how great I was, in their eyes. And that really inspired me to continue going. And then along the line, you end up meeting people like yourself, like the Stand Tall team, and even the students who talk about how much your message inspires them. And then that makes me, let's say, ask myself the question, what if I decided to do it for another day? And that day turned into weeks, and those weeks turn into months, it turns into, a few years. But yes.
Yeah, well, you speak with such love for what you do, and I think that's so important. But I think we were running a little bit behind time today, because I think both you and I were out, but you were speaking to students, and as I said earlier, you had this connection with the students out there. And I guess, so my question now...
Molly, do you know what it is? Those students have the best energy I've seen.
They do.
They're so full of energy, they're energetic, they're excited, and they're so happy to be here.
They are.
And
but what was, I guess when you were speaking to them, what were you saying? What was your advice to them? They're young people, they're so impressionable. What were you saying?
My advice was, that it doesn't matter how big or small your dream is.
Yep.
The most important thing is getting started, and you never know where that dream will take you. Because for me, like it could have been as simple as wanting to eat a $9 sandwich and working towards that. And before knowing it, realizing that I ended up being invited to represent Australia at the UN headquarters.
It's amazing.
Mainly because of the fact that I wanted to eat a $9 sandwich. And sometimes you never know where your dream can take you.
Yep.
And even, for example, where I am now as being here, it goes back to me making that small decision, on working on myself, on wanting to, go after this sandwich. And before you know it, the world just opens up. You meet people who connect with you, who resonate with you, and who appreciate you for who you are and what you bring to life.
Oh, it's amazing. And you are so wise in what you say. I think you could take so many quotes out of just this conversation here that I think anyone could live by.
If anyone can take anything away, they should take away my hair routine. Do you see how clean that is?
Well, that was my next question. What is your mantra that you live by? But yes, beautiful hair, perfect jawline, amazing speaker, package
Manicure and pedicure.
So what is your mantra?
My mantra is that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And that was something that I always believed, even when I was in that bathroom, because don't forget, I was in that bathroom making the video with a speech impediment in a language that isn't my first language, and without professional, equipment. And it's one of those things where my brother was sick, he was sitting in the sink, and I even had to, get a screwdriver to take away, the towel wheel, so people didn't know where we were. And the shower was on one hand and the bathtub was on the other. I told my brother to make sure that the camera was, don't get some of those things, just make sure that you get that blank space. And we would start the video, and before you know it, because I come from a big family, when it's going good, before you know it, you hear one of the siblings running in the background. So you're like, no, let's start again. And then when we think it's going better, mom would be shouting at someone. We're like, we don't want mom's voice in there. But that's how we started. You know what I mean? And I didn't have, let's say, maybe I had the charisma all along. That one, I don't want to sell myself so. But I didn't have, let's say, the knowledge. Yeah. And I didn't know where it would take me. And I didn't know who I would meet and how far the journey would be. It's about to be 10 years, Molly. Wow, can you believe that?
Amazing. It's amazing. Well, I, for one, am very honoured to meet you. And I think I can vouch on behalf of everyone ever that we are very glad you made it out of the bathroom and now speak on international stages and doing amazing things. And I think Stand Tall is very, very lucky to have you a part of the Stand Tall family.
Well, it's sad to say I made it out of the bathroom, because every time I am in the bathroom, I'm like, I'm back here again.
Hey, at least there's mirrors in the bathroom. You can have a little look at the jawline. But no, we're so grateful to have you, and thank you for speaking to me today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to be part of the Stand Tall family, and to be able to see the wonderful work that the team does, and the many lives that are changed. And I can't wait to see the beautiful dreams that students continue following as they continue standing tall.
Oh, I know you inspired so many people out there, so thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us on the Stand Tall podcast. We've loved having you. Follow and subscribe to stay up to date and to hear more stories like this one. We'd also love it if you could share this with your friends and family, because we know a little extra hope can go a long way. You can find out more, tell us what you think, and keep up with our Stand Tall events via our social media. Come say hi, and we'll see you on there.